Have you ever had a feeling that was just so big, so profound that words felt tiny and useless in comparison? I mean, what if you could actually share that entire experience, not just a description of it, but the experience itself directly with someone else? Today, we're going to dive into a proposed idea for how to do exactly that. We've all said this, right? The sunset was beautiful. But as the words leave your mouth, that they are just a pale shadow of what you actually felt in that moment. There's this great concept called the Adriatic moment. Picture it. You're standing there, taking in this incredible scene. Your brain is a whirlwind, processing the warm breeze, the smell of the pine trees, this deep feeling of peace, a universe of data. But then, to share it, you have to squeeze all of that through the tiny little pinhole of language. It's kind of the fundamental tragedy of being human, isn't it? We're all locked inside these incredibly rich private worlds. And get a load of this number. Our minds can process information up to 100,000 times faster than we can speak. Just let that sink in. Language isn't just a filter. It's a massive, massive bottleneck, standing between your inner world and everyone else's. This bottleneck, it isn't some new problem. You could argue that the entire history of human civilization has been one long attempt to find better and better ways to share what's going on in our heads. Just look at this timeline. We went from oral traditions, where stories literally died with the person telling them, to the written word, then boom, the internet, and now we've got large language models. Every single step got us better at sharing symbols and descriptions. But this proposed next step, the Experience Semantic Protocol, or ESP, it's aiming for something completely different. Not to describe the experience, but to transmit the experience itself. So how on earth would that even begin to work? Well, the core idea is to create something like a genome, but for our experiences. And this is the perfect way to think about it. We don't need to capture every single neuron firing in the brain. That's not the goal. Just like all the complexity of life is written in a code with just 4 basic letters, A, T, C, and G, this protocol suggests we can map the fundamental structure of any human experience using just 6 basic types.
All right, so let's break down this experience genome. First up is knowledge, or KNO. This is the what. It's the pure, objective information. So for a surgeon in an operating room, it's the fact. This patient's artery is weak.
Right, and that knowledge is linked to intention, or INT. This is the why. What's the goal driving the action? For that surgeon, the intention is crystal clear. I need to apply pressure very, very carefully. Then you've got emotion, or emo. This is the feel of the experience, the surgeon's stress or their sense of calm, focus. But, and this is maybe the most important part, notice that little lock icon. Emotion is masked by default. Privacy isn't some feature they tacked on at the end, it is built into the very foundation of this idea. Next, you need to ground the experience. That's context, or CTX. This is the simple stuff, the where, when, and with whom. It's the brightly lit operating room, the time of day, the team that's present. And then, of course, you have the sensory data, or SCN. This is how the body is taking it all in. The sights, the sounds, the smells, and in our surgeon's case, that absolutely critical feel of tissue resistance under their fingertips. And the final piece of the puzzle is temporal, or TEM. It's a bit of a fancy word, but just think of it as the internal clock of the experience. It's the rhythm, the flow, the pacing of events, that steady, methodical pace of a complex surgery. Put all 6 together, and you have the complete code. Okay, so we've got these 6 building blocks of experience, but here's where it gets really mind-bending. The true breakthrough isn't just identifying these types, it's being able to pull them apart. The best way to think about it is like a sound mixing board for your mind. The protocol treats these 6 types as separate channels. You can turn up the sensory fader to share exactly what something felt like, while keeping the emotion fader turned all the way down to 0. You are the engineer. You are in complete control. And being able to do this, it changes everything. A surgeon could transmit their pure technical skill, their muscle memory, without any of the personal stress they might be feeling. A patient could share the raw feeling of depression with their doctor without having to relive any of the traumatic memories that might be tangled up with it. It's all about sharing what's necessary and protecting what's private. So when you can share an experience with this level of precision and control, it could revolutionize everything from the way we learn to the way we connect with each other. Just think about training. That intuitive feel that a master surgeon develops over a 30-year career, that sixth sense for how tissue should respond, that could be shared directly with a student. The sensory data, the intention, the temporal rhythm of a procedure, all of it, transferable. It could potentially slash a learning curve that takes decades down to just months. Or what about entertainment? A filmmaker could literally design not just the sights and sounds, but the intended emotional journey of a movie. You wouldn't just watch the disorientation in a film like Inception, you could actually feel a safe, calibrated version of it. It would be a shared emotional experience on a level we can barely even imagine right now.
Okay, I know what you're probably thinking. This all sounds incredible, but it also sounds kind of scary, right? So let's just tackle the elephant in the room head on. Is this mind reading? And is it safe? The designers of this protocol are incredibly clear about this distinction. As you can see here, this is not mind reading. It's a communication protocol, just like Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. It doesn't pull anything from your brain. It only transmits what you explicitly, consciously consent to share from one moment to the next. Think of it as a handshake, not a brain scan.
And look, these aren't just vague promises. These privacy safeguards are baked right into the technical design. Your emotions are private by default. Sharing anything requires your cryptographic key, basically your digital signature of consent. You can hit a panic button and revoke access instantly. And because it's proposed as an open standard, it wouldn't be owned or controlled by any one company. And that really brings us to the core thesis of this whole idea. Even if we can only ever transfer, say, 40% or even just 20% of an experience, that imperfect, partial transfer would still be a more powerful, more empathetic way to communicate than even our most perfect, most poetic language.
So I want to leave you with this question to chew on. If this technology really existed and you had total, perfect control to share just one single moment from your life, the knowledge, the feeling, the whole thing, what experience would you choose to share? And who would you share it with?